Hey guys, you are watching part 2 of our wedding series we got here. Today it's still the same day as part 1, but in this episode we're going to talk about sexual harassment. Start off with the sexual harassment because everybody wants to hear about that, right? Like, what's sexual harassment? Weddings? What are you talking about? No, not us sexually harassing the groomsmen or the bridesmaids. It's the other way around. Mainly, Caitlyn has to speak on this.
Okay, are we jumping right in? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So luckily we've not ran into this issue often, I will say. But usually what happens on wedding days is people start drinking early in the day, and they keep drinking throughout the day, which makes people not act how people normally should be acting. So we have, I'll talk about one wedding in particular. Basically, the groomsmen had been drinking all day long, and by the time that it was, probably about 8 o'clock or so at night. So, mind you, they had all been intoxicated for the last 12 hours or so and still going strong at this point. So, some of the groomsmen were getting too comfortable with not only the cameras, but us too. They decided that Austin was like their best friend while we were working there, and then they got too comfortable with me when Austin wasn't around. So the first thing that happened, there were two things that happened at this wedding. The first thing that happened was I was posing some people at the reception for a photo, and it was actually an usher. It wasn't one of the groomsmen, but an usher came up and he like put his arms around me and he was like leaning on me. And I kept telling him to get off, to move, and I was trying not to, like, make a scene out of it, you know, so I was trying to, like, haha, like, you know, okay, you can step away now, and clearly, like, the people that I was taking the picture of, like, they could see that I was uncomfortable, you know, and so then Austin was standing right there, and I could tell, like, he wasn't sure how to react, because, like, we're there as vendors, like, we're supposed to be working, so, like, realistically, what are you supposed to do in that situation?
Yeah, it's not going to position where, like, this ain't, you know, you ain't saying a random situation like, you know, on the street or something. It's like, I'm working here and it's my reputation and all that. I mean, if I shove that guy, I mean, you know what I mean? No one else at that wedding's going to look at it that way. They're going to be like,
right.
what was I doing, you know? But I'll let you go on more.
Yeah, so this guy, like, he was, like, hanging all over me, and finally, like, I ended up just stepping away, and then he got closer, and he, like, stumbled into me at this point, but then he was just, like, laughing and walked away, and that was it for this first situation. And then it had to have been less than 10 minutes later, Austin, all of our gear was in, like, a separate area. It was all one room, but our gear was, like, hidden behind this, like, half wall sort of area. And Austin was back with the gear, and I was just taking, you know, candid photos of people dancing and stuff. And one of the groomsmen came up, and he, like, bent over in front of me and started, like, trying to, like, grind on me. And it, like...
I assume he was twerking.
Yeah, it was weird. But...
Wow.
But he did this, he completely bent over on me, like he was touching me, and so I jumped back, like I stepped several feet away, and I told him to stop, and he was like laughing, and he was like, oh, Austin won't care, because at this point everyone knew Austin by his name, because, you know, they were...
Yes, I would care, and I do care.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, well, you better not let him see this, because like he's gonna be mad if he sees you doing this. And so then the guy, he kept getting closer and closer to me, so I ended up like going away. Like I got as far away as I could, and he was following me at this point. And then I said, what would your girlfriend or your wife think about this? And he was like, oh, she's right there. And like she wasn't looking, like her back was facing the other way, but he was like, she'd probably think it was funny. And I was like, well, I don't. Like, you stop, you know. So then at that point I told him to stop, and I walked away, and I went to Austin, and I was just like, we need to leave. Like, I'm not comfortable here at all.
No.
And
it's just, that's something that we'd obviously never crossed our mind dealing with stuff like that, but now that that kind of stuff's in our contract, because like if that was the end of the day, you know, people are getting too out of control. Like, what where do you draw the line at with well, first of all, I know some people might think that's funny and whatever, but like you don't know other people and you need to respect what other people say and just overall respect other people. But like now we put in our contract that if I don't know what you made the contract, what exactly you put in there, but like if we had if that happened in the middle of the day or early on and we leave, like we don't need any lawsuits on us for like leaving or whatever, even if we refund them or anything like that. Right. But because the couple wasn't around, you know, they didn't see that. They had nothing to do with the situation. Right. But who's responsible for the people at the wedding though? I don't know, but that's who that blame falls on. But
yeah, so we ended up leaving like from that wedding. So we just and I don't know, like this is something Austin and I still talk about. Like we didn't tell the bride and groom that was what was happening. Like there were people at the reception that definitely saw it. So if anyone was concerned, they probably, I'm sure word got around, you know. But we've talked about this, and like if this happens again in the future, I don't know if we'll tell the bride and groom or if we should tell like their parents or like maid of honor, or you know, like we definitely need to let someone know. Someone needs to be aware that was happening and that was why we were leaving. But that's something that we've been trying to figure out is like, what is, you know, obviously like, we're going to have a protocol on our end of like, if that happens, we're not going to be obligated to stay. 'Cause you're putting us in a dangerous situation at that point, you know? Yeah. So
like what's the professional way to handle that? You know, and trying to figure that. And I think putting in the contract about sexual harassment specifically in there and what we consider sexual harassment, I guess, is different than what other people would, but or majority of us would call that sexual harassment.
Yes.
I'm saying I don't like clearly I don't know if they thought, I don't know, they weren't thinking, but
and it's just like one of those things too when that guy said, "Oh, I don't think Austin would mind." It's like, well, you don't know if it's like they don't know if you're the type of person to just like snap like that.
Yeah.
You know,
that could ruin my business for just
exactly.
But
so it's like,
I mean, I don't know them. This is not a people we knew at all. Like we had no, there was no connection to these people. This was all, you know, professional relationship of us showing, you know, whatever. And we didn't know any of them. So, yeah. But
so you guys did end up leaving, or?
Yeah, I mean the day was done. We had captured everything at that point. Where this was the night. So like it wasn't like we left, so we didn't have to worry about like missing anything. We had captured everything at that point. We were just it was the last hour or so. We're like, okay, we're done. But if that had happened, something like that would happen early on in the day. You know, what do you do?
Yeah,
you leave. I'm also putting in the contract like we leave and you get like 50% refund or something like that. I don't know. Maybe like maybe we could talk to the couple, give them a warning, like, hey, your people are acting up. I don't know, something like that. But
yeah. And so what we ended up doing was after that happened, we waited a few days because we do post like sneak peek photos within a couple of days of the wedding, you know. So we waited like a week after the wedding, and then we ended up emailing all the rest of our wedding clients that we had for the rest of this year and into next year and said, hey, you know, this wasn't previously in our contract, but at a wedding we recently had this happen. So we didn't mention who it was or anything like that. Like we didn't tie it directly back to someone, but we did warn everybody else that we have contracts with, saying that, you know, this isn't something that was previously included, but we recently ran into this issue. And if it happens at your wedding, like we're not obligated to stay, you know?
Yeah.
And everyone was understanding. Like we didn't get any sort of lashback on that at all. So I think it's more of just be aware of your surroundings, you know, make sure. And, you know, it's not like we were putting ourselves into a dangerous situation. Like that's just... That's how weddings go, is, you know, people drink, they party, and they have fun, and then sometimes they get too out of control. But yeah, just be aware, and if you do feel, you know, uncomfortable at a wedding, make sure someone knows. Like, don't stick around just because you feel like you have to, you know?
I feel like it should be the same as any other working environment.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
But
man, maybe I should put that in my contract
I
because
don't know. Yep, you got a little sexy beard going, but I wonder how many. I mean, I would love to hear from other people. Anybody listening, if there's any photographers out there, male or female, that have been sexually harassed in any way. Like, how common is this? I never thought of that till this had happened to us. Like, I wonder how often that stuff happens there. But
yeah, and I would say too, like a lot of a lot of photographers, we know a lot of photographers that do work by themselves on wedding days. Like we've seen it firsthand. When we come in like as a video crew, and we usually see photographers alone, and like that's something that I always thought would be possible. Like if the two of us had to be in two places in one day, like we could do that, but absolutely not at this point. Like that's never gonna happen. I am not comfortable going to a wedding by myself ever at this point.
Right.
Which I don't blame you for that. But it would suck like if there was someone else out there shooting weddings and this happens to them and then they never feel comfortable doing what they love.
Right.
But so have you had any sexual harassment stories, James?
No, not that I can think of.
Are you sure?
No, yeah.
But yeah, that's something. That's
I guess I've never thought about that happening.
Yeah.
But
well, I would say more positive stuff, but nope. On to more negative stuff. Dealing with clients and dealing with payments and clients not paying. So the only good thing to say is it's good when clients pay.
Yeah.
And on time.
And on time. But I don't know where to start with this one. So we've had a couple bad experiences with clients paying. Have you ever had to deal with that, James? People not paying?
I've had a problem with a lot of people not paying their down payment,
The deposit, like a
deposit.
Yeah.
That's been a huge thing. Like ever since I even like the very first one first wedding I filmed, that's when I started it, and it's just been a problem ever since.
So do you ask for like a percentage of the overall cost, or do you is it like a fixed pay, like one time down?
Yeah, I normally do a little less. It's like what is it like? It's not 50%, but it's like, what's the percentage like? Because most of the time it equivalates out to be about, depending on like what they want, like package wise, it's like it's a couple $100.
Yeah. So we thought about doing like half up front right away, but I think what's worked out best for us is we just do $100 deposit, which I think it should be more, honestly, because people put their deposit in, and we say that's refundable, but it's just to hold the date fee, and then do we up it to 60 days before? No.
Yeah.
So 60 days before the wedding, we ask for half of it to be paid up front to make sure that we're covered on the getting there, which and twice now they've had the deposit and they haven't had that 50% up front. So I don't think it's wrong for people to ask for half of it up front right away to hold the date in, because we didn't get that half and they're like, oh, we'll have and we put good faith in people twice now, and both of those weddings we didn't. I mean, one of them's making payments very slowly. The other one,
they straight up told us that they're not going to.
Yeah.
So.
And I'd already edited it. Like I was done.
Yeah.
So I had the whole film done and put together, and we have the box made, custom box. So like that's just sitting. I don't know what to do with it. Throw it away, I guess, delete it. But like, I put a lot of hours into that, and that one was out of state. We did that in Illinois, and we weren't compensated for it at all. We got the $100 deposit, so we did a whole wedding film and drove out to Illinois for $100.
What I think a lot of people don't understand is like when you ask for that, even like half of it up front, that's not only securing that date, but that's also securing to where it's like if someone else comes to you and
exactly,
like, hey,
exactly, and that's the main, and that's where we ran into this. Surprisingly, we've run into it more than you would think. People scheduling the same days, and because if someone says, "Hey, I want to do this wedding this day," and you don't charge a deposit or anything, and you say, "Okay, I'll do it," another client comes to you and is like, "Hey, I need a wedding filmed this day." Not that anybody comes up and says it just like that, but and then you say, no, sorry, I'm already booked. And then that they say, okay, and they find someone else. And then the other person you had the first time bails, like, and then you're stuck with nothing. Like, then you just said no to, you just lost out on two, at that point. And that's where it's really important, I think, for people to charge deposits. I think it's a big reason for it. But so we ask for half up front before we get there, before the wedding day, and then half upon delivery, when you get it. So I feel like that way people both feel safe. So like feel like we're both kind of half in at that point. But
yeah,
it seems to be the best way now. But now if they don't have it the half up front, before the wedding day, I'm not showing up because I'm not going to count on seeing any of it if that's the case. Which, it's very frustrating. Like, I understand people have, especially with COVID, like financial problems and life happens.
Yeah.
But we offer payment plans too. And we try working with these people, like very low payments, very, very, very low payments to where it's like, well, just show some sign of faith of something and then you can pay for it. But, you're not getting it until it's paid for.
Yeah.
And just some sign of faith. Like, and I think what we offered, we told them $20, $25 a month. And it was, and obviously they were going to have their film paid off for like 2 or 3 years, but it's more like, this is just to show, some sign of faith, you're going to pay for it eventually. And that's when they said no, like that was too much. And it's aggravating. I think people get in over their heads, especially at weddings, and video being an afterthought when we talked about in the last episode that it's more of a luxury.
Yeah. And even if they, I feel like sometimes like what's happened to me in the past is like, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's completely fine. That price is fine. But they don't really think about it. And then once like the other half is due, they're like, oh
yeah, reality sets in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like when you buy a new camera, then you check your bank account after and like, oh, it did cost that much. But
oh, isn't that the truth?
But yeah, I think people don't, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but like, how do you not, I don't know how you buy something like that and then us still show up and film your whole day and then stay in contact with you and tell you that, it's coming along, it's almost done and it's done. And you still not even, pay nothing. We have one couple that's paying us here and there, which is fine. I respect they're giving us something, but now they've invested like enough to where you would think they'd want to hurry up and pay the rest off because they haven't got nothing.
Yeah.
Photos and video. They've got nothing. And you think that they would be like, okay, I've already paid, over $1,000 for this and I have nothing to show for it. You think you'd want to pay the rest off, but I don't know. People, that can be frustrating and it can really, really, really screw somebody up. Like people don't realize when you're making a living off that. I mean, when you're counting on that, if that's rent or a car payment, and you're depending on that, and then someone makes you put all that time and work in, you lose. That's a lot of work. Those hours away from your family, hours by yourself in a corner on a computer, and you're not compensated for it at all whatsoever. And what the worst part is, I can't even post it to like share it, because then it's like, then I feel like they win. Then they get it. Then they won't have it, but they can see it, and they could download on YouTube, whatever. But
yeah, and the thing is too, like for me, like if I was put in that situation, that would be on my conscience. And it's like, like why? It's just like, why not just? It might suck to have to just pay it up front, but just get it over with.
Exactly, and
like
we're clearly in the position to take legal action on these people too. But I honestly don't have time for it. Like I don't know if it's worth the time going through all that crap. We got to keep kind of take it as a business experience, learning not to. It sucks, but not to put that much trust in people. If you don't got that gut feeling like you don't know, then you probably shouldn't. But just try to take it as a learning experience. Keep moving on with business, and just keep moving on to the next person. Not hang on the old people that just screwed you. But business,
I think something
drama.
I think something nice too. When we talked about in the last episode when you guys said that you up your prices, that
yes,
I feel like you can trust your clientele more.
Yeah,
'Cause
that
if
was the
you're
main reason we did it, because I think we were offering competitive prices where I think I don't want to sound like two judgmental people, but the fact was we were getting more of like a lower class people, like lower class people, the lower incomes and stuff, obviously, who are like, oh, we can get a wedding film that we can afford for this price. So then, and those people normally aren't. I'm saying those people. I think we were getting people who weren't um, financially well or good with their finances and kind of getting in over their head. The type of people who get like a credit card, it's basically what it is. Get like a credit card and don't really pay attention to how they're going to use it or have a plan when they use it. They just start swiping. And I think it's what was happening. So we upped our price. We kind of moved to a different demographic of people who, I mean, that's where I say it's a luxury, I think,
Right.
You don't accidentally buy a Ferrari, Not bragging on my work like that, saying that I'm a Ferrari, but what you know what I'm saying. But.
And when we upped our prices, like we did add in a spot on our website that said, if this is still out of your budget or you don't see something that kind of fits your needs, like let us know and we'll still work with you. So to me, like that, it kind of made it feel like we're not totally losing out on everyone. We're not saying like, oh, we're too good for you, like it just takes people that if they're interested in, like, they see your value, they see what you're worth. So if someone is interested in that and they really appreciate our work, like we're still going to work something out with them.
And that's something too we've added was different things we can do, because I want to work with people who can't, because it sucks when you can't afford that and you want to remember the day. Like if you really, 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 really wanted it and you could not afford anybody to do your wedding, I still would like to work with people. Like if they're willing to like talk with us, I mean, we could work something out, but
Yeah.
we need a sign of good faith in some way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and now we start offering the ceremony films where it's just the ceremony. Like we'll show up, we'll set up, film your ceremony, we'll mic them up, and that's it though. Like we're gone. Like I'll give you that for and we do that, very affordably for people who I would think that's the most important part of the day, right?
Oh yeah, it is.
Like you don't get all the fancy B-roll and like all the detailed shots of your entire venue, but I'll show up, I'll film your ceremony, and you can get that, really, really affordably, because it's not too difficult to shoot that. I mean, it's still a lot to show up and bring and mic and piece together, but it's still not an entire full-length wedding film. That's something too I want to bring up too, is like the editing, like putting these together. I don't know if you just did highlight films or like full-length things. I don't know if anyone actually does full lengths the way I do it, because I think it's too much, honestly, what I put myself in the corner doing. But
yeah, we what we've done in the past is we do like and I think kind of similar to what you guys do, the 5-minute like highlight reels, and then we don't normally go past like 30 minutes for the full length full length wedding film.
So you put no longer than 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done one, like I think I overdo it, and I really think I do, and I like doing it, but I think I'm my own problem with weddings most of the time, because I put I capture everything to its full extent, to where like even if my camera I'm running up, like I'll still put that shot in there because it's a moment you probably want to remember, even if I'm pulling focus in the middle of it or not in the full length, like more like running a documentary.
Yeah.
So like a lot of mine are over 30 minutes. It depends on the wedding. So like I've done them where they're almost 2 hours, like an hour and a half. Like it's a feature film documentary of this wedding. And that's where it takes me so long to do. And it's starting to become a lot when I have, 3 or 4 weddings on my plate and I'm editing 3 or 4 hour and a half films. And then I do a condensed down version of a highlight on top of that. So everybody gets the full length of this day from, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. We kind of started out. Yeah, we kind of started out that way a little bit. The first 2 we did, it was over an hour. But yeah, once we really looked at it and seeing how much time was saved between just doing the highlight reel and the no more than 30 minutes, It was.
I've gotten more of to where I used to put like 3 cameras on everything, like slow dancing, like 3 cameras, and like I'm doing multicam stuff on just a slow dance, and I'm like, I don't know if that's necessary, and then I don't know if people really care to watch their whole father-daughter dance. I don't know how much people actually care about that. If they just see like a highlight of it, is it just the same to see it in pieces as it would be just to watch? Because like, are you really going to sit there and watch? I mean, people
Right,
do,
yeah.
but I mean, some of these dances like 5 minutes of just, and that's it. But like,
Yeah.
so now I'll just put like a locked off shot. Because I imagine like if you want to see that, you don't want to keep watching the same gimbal movements over and over. Like, how much can I do with that? I'll get gimbal shots for the highlight, but then I'll just have a locked off shot to capture that dance, that moment as it is, and make sure they have that full length. So I found ways to like simplify my workflow in that way to
Yeah.
make sure they're still getting the memory in the moment, but trying to cut some of the unnecessary cuts and shots that aren't needed. I mean,
Yeah.
that don't add
Yeah.
anything.
We started like, especially with the reception and like the first dances and stuff like that. We started doing like all the dances, and then when everybody would get their the different songs that come on, everybody dances to. And we actually stopped doing that. We just got the the main dances, because after that it just seems kind of like, who's really gonna,
It's the same, yeah. So
yeah, it's
I ended up making just like a minute, 2 minute montage. They used to be longer, but now I just do them shorter because like it depends on if there's a lot of goofy stuff happening on the dance floor. If it's,
right, yeah.
And those like the funny moments, I try to get in there and capture like someone doing the worm in the middle of a crowd and everyone's moving other way, or someone holding someone over their head, stuff like that. But
I don't think the weddings I go to are ever that exciting.
we get some exciting.
Yeah.
Really? Dang.
We get some exciting ones. We've done Indian weddings too. That could be another topic. That was
Yeah.
Wow.
they're pretty crazy. Yeah, but like speeches, like I always love the couple for the ceremony, but then I don't leave those lavs on all day. I get them off right after the ceremony. I get them off of them, but I always tap into the DJ board too if there's a DJ during the ceremony for a backup, because sometimes I don't know, something goes wrong with my mic, or whatever could possibly go wrong with that. Like once I used the Rode Wireless Go, which is why I won't recommend it for weddings. It had interference on it, so I had to fall back to the DJ board, which is good that I had it straight from that mic. But tapping into the DJ board again, like it's another thing. You stress out, like running over. Like I don't know if the couple like thinks about that when they watch the film. That like during those speeches, that the audio you're hearing's from that mic.
Right.
Like they probably don't even think like, how did I get that? It probably doesn't cross their mind, which would be a good thing. But I'm running and communicating with a DJ with a bag of cables, trying to figure out how to get into their board. And usually they're very helpful, and yeah, I think.
That's good.
Have we ran into a bad DJ, Caitlyn?
Well, we've ran into DJs that weren't very good DJs, but
yeah, I get that. But no, I'd say they've all been nice though. They've all been helpful, like helping me get into the board and tap in and tell me where I can plug in and stuff like that. No one's ever told me no, but because I always ask, I don't just run up and start plugging crap into their stuff. But
yeah,
but like
sounds like you.
No, what you say?
I said, sounds like you guys have had more positive experiences with DJs than you have photographers.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yes. DJs are always cool. One thing I don't bother me, but a lot of the DJs we work with, they just drink. Like they go there and they play music and drink. It's like, man,
yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
I don't drink, but like I don't even like,
Same.
I don't even like DJing, but
yeah,
what a job to have,
I will say too, DJs make or break the whole day. Like,
yeah,
if you have a DJ that's like not hyping people up and not partying, not like moving things along, it's gonna ruin the whole day. I mean, we've had a couple weddings where the DJs were just not super into it. It's like they were just playing the next track and that was it, And all of those weddings have been cut short. And I heavily would rely that on the DJ themselves.
Yeah, DJs are. I think they're surprisingly more important than a lot of the things I see. I see at a wedding, like the DJ. I can more remember the DJ at different venues than I can remember the couples. More, I don't know why that is. But like, because I mean, we work, pretty much beside them, and a good DJ comes to us, tells us before they're doing anything, or let me know when you're ready, and I'll tell the couple to come in. That stuff's always really, really helpful. But DJs are always great. They're always characters too. DJs
they are.
But and I wasn't like insulted. I'm trying to insult saying that when I said what a job, that it's an easy job. I think you have to. I feel like you have to be born for that though. You have to be that kind. You have to be that kind of character to stand up in front of people. And, I mean, I respect that. I couldn't do it. No way. No way I could have people up. I'd just be like, so, what song you like?
Start dancing, please. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience with the DJ.
That's good. See, DJs, you DJs out there are awesome. All of you. What do we have next to talk about? I feel like I had so many things to talk about when we started this, and like I can't even think of all the little things. I know we're going to do another one of these again.
What I don't know if we've talked about it yet, but what your guys' days, like how many hours?
So as a newbie, like I still always show up early. We are the first ones there, usually before the bride and groom. Like we're always there before the photographer if we're doing video. If not, we're still getting there. Because I get there, maybe it's my paranoia. I always make sure I'm there early enough to get my drone up, get my drone shots, venue shots, get my tripod set up at the ceremony, which usually I show up, 2 or 3 hours, Caitlyn? Do you think? Before?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
So it ends up being, because we stay late, and we capture a lot of the dancing too, which I think we stay later than anybody I've seen we worked with later than, it'd be like a 14 to 16 hour day altogether. Okay. That's not even including the day before charging and packing, like it's
or after.
Right, yeah. Right.
Or after. That's something I want to talk about is the packing time. People don't understand the gathering the gear, the double checking, like how long that takes. It takes, I probably spend 3 hours just packing and then unpacking. And my
double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking.
Yeah.
And still forget something. But it's just that is the most frustrating part for me, probably, than the day itself, is the I don't know what you would call it, like the pre-day, the day before, the setting up and leaving that morning and like hoping I got everything and showing up. But yeah, usually like 14, 16 hour days for us. And we've started to like know what we need, and we know with experience, you start to know what's enough, like what you got enough of. But
I want to talk about packing too. So something that we recently started doing was I actually take like a bridal kit to every wedding that we do. So I'll take tweezers and usually scissors and like something for a headache, like Excedrin or Advil or something. And that has come in handy at every single wedding we have done.
Wow.
Which has been awesome. Because, I mean, think about it. Like, we're always there when the bride is getting ready or when the groom is getting ready or whatever. And if we can be the one where they say, oh, man, I need a pair of scissors. Like, there's a loose thread on my dress or something. Like, oh, hey, we have that. Like, and then it leaves a good impression, too. And, like, we've had especially, like, usually the parents of the bride are, they're usually stressing out that day, And so, like, we've had several times where the bride's mom will be like, oh, man, like, I need to sit down, or I have a headache, or, like, I'm ready for this day to be over. And we're like, oh, hey, we have Excedrin, we have Advil, like, do you want some? That sort of thing. And it has come in handy at every single wedding. And tweezers, I will say too. We had a wedding this year. It was in a barn venue, and the floor had wood slats. We were unpacking SD cards, and an SD card had fallen in between.
It was a micro SD card to my drone. Is what it was.
Oh man.
Yeah, and Yep. So it fell between the wood slats, and we were sitting there forever trying to get it out and like trying to, like we had like a pin. We were like cramming in between, like trying to get it. 'Cause it was standing vertically too, so it was like you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's horrible. And so I was like, oh yeah, I have tweezers, and it worked. Like,
Yep.
yeah. So
Like,
that's a necessity now.
Yeah, I will
my guy
write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to go get a pack of gum, chew it, and use my spit it out, and use my gum to like stick down in there to get it out. That was gonna be playing CD, whatever we were on at that point. But yeah, I just filmed everything around. I was like, oh great, like now this is all my footage right here, just ready to reach. But things like that, we need to talk about like little stupid things that go wrong.
Yeah,
just
that you wouldn't even think of. Yeah,
but. How long do
a
you
survival
stay?
kit almost?
Yes, it is. It's a weird. We should do a video on that. But it's like, how long do you guys like? I mean, you think you said earlier you kind of jump out at when everyone hits the dance floor at that time. When,
Yeah, our days probably typically between 10 to 12 hours.
Mm-hmm. That's a good spot. See, it's never going to be a 6-hour day though, is it?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, that's
nope.
And it's way more than what people think.
Yeah, because my friend Kevin that I've done weddings with, he has a drone also. So the few I've done with him, he's normally the one that throws the drone up and stuff. But my friend that I normally do them with, I'm the only one with the drone. So yeah, we get there a couple hours early, and I throw the drone up and get stuff.
It's always the worst time of day to get the drone shots too.
Yeah, literally.
I'll get the drone up, and then like if there's time, which this has probably only happened once, twice, where if the sun's set and I have time to after I capture anything else I need to go get the drone back up and get like better shots, but that normally never happens. But
yeah, I actually had, and this was a couple years back, but it just didn't work out. But I had a friend that was getting married in Hawaii, and they wanted me to film their wedding, but I was like, well, I can't really, even charging what I was charging, I was like, I can't really afford, and they couldn't afford
to fly you out there and have you.
Yeah, I was like, man, getting drone shots out there for a wedding, and just the wedding in general would have been amazing.
Yeah, we have a fee when we go out of state, but yeah, usually we make sure that's covered.
Yeah,
Hawaii, that would be expensive. Were they expecting you to cover yourself?
Yeah, because
if they couldn't afford to pay you to fly you out there, then you're just losing money. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's
so.
Unless you were like looking at a vacation, that's
right.
We've done that before. Had them like just cover the trip, and we'll stay a couple nights there, like, and it's a vacation for us. Like, we'll do your wedding, you pay for our vacation, basically, like pay for our stay. But
yeah,
done that before, but that was like one of the ways we've helped someone out, like working with them that way. Like, hey, like, just cover the gas and stay. We'll do it. It's like,
heck yeah.
They had one day we worked, and then we stayed a couple more. And
yeah, that was nice.
Where was that at?
Florida.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to go to Florida anyway. We're like, you know what? We'll just go down there and just make this wedding pay for our vacation cost.
Yeah.
But at photo, I know, Caitlyn, you want to talk about your editing process for photos on the photography side. We talked a lot about video on the post now, but what about the photo side?
Yeah, so when it comes to after the weddings, staying organized is like the biggest thing. So when we were first...
Caitlyn's muted.
Oh, I was. On my headset, yeah. Sorry.
Good.
So staying organized is like, that's the biggest thing whenever it comes to after weddings. And so originally what I was running into when we first started doing weddings was we had, on the photo side, we would usually take 2 cameras and have 2 cameras throughout the entire day. And I would just dump everything into like an unedited folder on my computer and then have like 9,000 photos to click through one by one from start of the day to end of the day. And it was terrible. And so I was trying to figure out like, how can I make this process easier, And so what I ended up doing was now I shoot on Sony bodies. So in Sony, I'm assuming other cameras do this too, but in Sony, you can change the names of the files in camera. So we shoot on as of right now, I have an A99 Mark II and the 6500 right now. And so in each of the cameras on my A99, I have the preface for each of the file numbers to start with 99, and then the 6500, I have them starting at 65. So without looking at the metadata, I know what camera each thing came from. And so now I have a file structure that I started working this way where as I'm offloading, I organize the entire day based on what the photos are. So in my folder, I have like bridal getting ready, the groom getting ready. I have bridesmaids portraits, groomsmen portraits, family portraits, newlywed portraits, and then like the ceremony, first dances, the ring and detail shots. So basically it just every piece of the day I have separated into individual folders on my computer, which makes editing so much more tolerable. Like, because now instead of sitting down and saying, okay, I got to put like 4 hours into editing these photos today, or, you know, whatever it might be, now I can say, okay, I'm going to get through 2 folders today and then take a break, and that's it. That has been like the biggest thing that has improved my process so much this year. Like, and then aside from that too, instead of exporting photos as I go, I've been doing batch exports, which is nice. So I edit everything and I save the edited files, and then I'll export all of the JPEGs and the final renders all at once, which has been super nice too.
Yeah, I actually just started doing that this year, actually. Yeah, I just started doing that as well, because it's such a pain when you have to export each one like individually, and if you have like how many do you normally have photo wise throughout the entire day?
Yeah, so it depends on the length of the day. So there are times that we shoot full days, and we promise that we'll be there for at least 12 hours, and on those days, you know, we can have upwards of like 12,000 photos that we've shot throughout the entire day. And I have, let's see, I think the biggest wedding that we've delivered had like 700 photos delivered, and that's because we were there for the entire day. We were there for like 13 hours, and they had a huge family, like huge family. So they ended up getting like 700 photos, but I would say average we usually deliver somewhere around 400 photos, 300 to 400 for the most part.
Okay. Yeah.
So what do you normally do? I mean, do you give them like everything, or do you have do you price by like how many photos they get? Or I know some people do that. But to me, that seems too confusing to do.
Yeah.
Because you can't predict how many good ones you.
Yeah, exactly. I typically because when I'm shooting, I shoot like bursts, and so that way I can get multiple shots of each. And typically, it's about the same between like 300, 400.
That's a lot of photos. I want people to think about that. I want people to think about how many times you sit there editing your little Instagram selfie and put that up. Now times that by 400 and do that in one sitting. You know?
Yeah.
Like
but better. But way better.
But professionally, you know, with actual good software, and you kind of know what you're doing, and not just throw a filter on it. It's not just a filter. I heard someone talk about color grading as filters, like it's not. I mean, let's exist, but like it's not like people just throw filters on everything they make. Like people don't understand how tedious that can get. But
I saw this is off topic, but I saw a meme that it said, what was it? I think it was about the Harry Potter movies. I think it was, but it was a meme that said like, can we appreciate the filter on this movie? And it had a bunch of screen grabs from the movie itself, and it's like, that's not a filter. That. Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, do they really think that like, you know, Premiere or DaVinci Resolve or like whatever movies are being edited in? They really think that there's just like preset filters that they just add on for the whole movie?
Like every Hollywood movie, there's like 10 filters that the people pick them out. Have you heard them referred to as filters before, James? Like professionally? I don't know.
I guess no.
Okay. I didn't think so. As far as I know, I've never heard that. That's like an Instagram thing that's been filters. Well, LUTs, but not filters.
Have you guys ever had someone take one of your photos and apply a filter to it? And
literally just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we just still did that.
Yep.
But Yeah, it's kind of insulting. That's another thing too. For anybody listening out there who I imagine people listening to this are people who do this, but if there's anybody listening who I don't know why you're listening for the wedding thing, if you don't shoot weddings, you just want to hear from our point of view. If you add a filter or re-edit a photo, it's really insulting, and it's like, what did you pay? Why did you pay for someone to take the time and edit it if you're just gonna destroy someone's art like that? That's like I don't even know, like buying like an Xbox. I do Xbox, and then like I mean it's probably a bad example. So like gutting it and changing all the internals, or a new PC, a gaming PC, and like I don't know. This is a bad example. Forget that. But yeah, I just don't.
Like I would so much rather have someone tell us like, hey, you know, can you re-edit this? Like this isn't really the style that we were looking for, than try to change it themselves. Like I would so much rather have that happen. Like I can respect that, you know?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's also another way to look at that. If someone re-edits your photos and they look terrible and they still post it and the world knows you did it, like you took that photo, but no one's still gonna be like, wow, it's a crappy photo, and who took that? And then like you're getting blamed for someone else editing that.
Yep.
But yeah, we've seen that before. People post stuff and throw filters on it, and it's kind of like
that's one of my pet peeves. I'm like,
well, you would. I don't know. To me, I think that you would know that it's kind of insulting, and I don't know. Yeah, but so I think that's about everything we had to talk about for this. I know there's more. More's gonna come up, but
there's got to be more.
I feel like there was something else you wanted to talk about, like the parents getting involved, parents too involved.
Oh, parents being too involved.
We can talk about that.
Have you had to deal with that at all, James?
Not so much the parents, but definitely the bride and groom. Like, and what I mean is like
I guess we never talked about that. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, have you had a bad bride and groom experience?
Yeah, I this particular bride and groom, they what's the best way to explain it?
We need their name. Yeah. We'll tag their profile.
When I met up with them weeks before the wedding, they didn't know what they wanted, and you know, like I said in the past episode, I basically told them like, hey, you know, I do this and this, we can do this and this, and they were like, great, sounds good. And then I get there, and they basically just want to change literally every aspect of it, and basically the bride and groom being too involved rather than the parents.
So they changed plans, like on like what they had already told you before, and they changed like the day of. Oh my gosh!
Oh wow!
They agreed to everything that I wanted, that I had planned out, and I had a whole itinerary of like what we could do, and then they basically were like, on the day of the wedding, they were like, oh no, we have an idea of what we want, and we want this and this. I'm like,
okay, yeah, it's nice to know. And they've known at least a day or two before they could.
Oh yeah.
And that's so frustrating. What did we just dealt with something, Caitlyn, where the bride and groom didn't tell us about something. Oh, like little moments, like when like a parent will have a gift for their kid, or they'll have like something given, or some memorial thing, like something. They'll do something like out of the ordinary. It's kind of more intimate, special, individualized to them, and they won't tell you about it. And you'll find out like literally minutes before it's about to happen. It's like running over there, like, okay, like trying to catch this one ready. But things like that.
Yeah, I had something like that recently happen to me, where the groom's parents they're still living in, because he's I don't remember if he's from China. I don't remember, but his parents are still over there because of the whole COVID thing. They couldn't come to the wedding. So there was this special thing where he was doing, where he had this big sign, and it was like going up to his, the bride's mom, asking for like, hey, will you be my mom? And with this sign and everything, and it was really neat, but I didn't know about it, so I couldn't grab it.
Yeah, and those moments, you think I don't want to talk down to these people, but like you would think you would want that photographed, and that's what you're hiring someone to do.
Right.
Like, you think you would let them know, like, I don't know. I just know if I hire a photographer, I'm like, I want this capture, this capture, this capture. Like, here are these moments. This is happening.
Yeah.
This is happening. I know you need to be here. Like, that's important to me that this is captured. People wing it way too much. Just assume you can capture all these moments. It's like, you can't be everywhere at once.
And those things that happen, especially if you don't know about it, they happen like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually something small,
gone.
real quick. You can miss it really quick. And it's, I don't know if people just expect, like, the photographers or even video, whatever, like, us to be just always just ready for everything. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, we are, but we don't have to be if you can tell us about, like, why does that have to not be a secret? And how does that go under the radar? Stuff like that.
Right.
Like, we didn't even know at one wedding, they didn't know if we're doing a first look, and we don't even know till, like, right before they're going to do a first look, they're doing a first look. It's like, why is this not known and not told to us? I don't get that. I don't understand. It's so frustrating. I'm getting frustrated right now thinking about weddings.
How often do you guys have the bride and groom that want to do the first look?
It's probably, I'd say more than not. Do you think so? Or
I don't know. I'd say it's
half and
about
half?
probably about 50-50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the first look. Yeah, most time when we ask that, they like when we do have our meetings beforehand, they're like, I don't know. Like, we've had some people like, I haven't thought about that, and I'm like, okay,
well, I've
you
had
decide,
a lot
let
of,
us know. But
I don't want to say a lot, but I have had a few that I mentioned the first look, and they're like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well, honestly, I didn't know the first. I never heard of that stuff. When I first started this, like I said, I'd never been to a wedding. I filmed the first wedding I attended, so like I didn't know what the process is, how this works. I didn't know there's a mother-son dance and father-daughter dance. I didn't know it's a thing. Like, just kind of. Caitlyn, you had been, right? You had been to a wedding. It's like I was literally asking you every time, like, what's next? What's happening? What is this? What's the cake for? But whose birthday is it?
It's so funny because, like, out of the 6 years or so going on of doing weddings, I have never been to a wedding in those 6 years, these past 6 years, that I haven't worked.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Well,
yeah. Yeah, that is.
I don't say the same for me, but no, I've been in a wedding and asked to film it.
No, yeah.
I offered. Well, you did most of it. Caitlyn did most of it. It would not have happened without her. But
yeah. Okay, I think I remember. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it would have been just tripods out of focus shots if it was just me. But yeah, I think that's about it for this. Do you guys think? Is there anything else you want to add, or?
I think it's
I know I'm getting too mad right now. I'm just kidding. So weddings overall. Will I do them? Yes, I'm going to continue to do them. They are one of the most rewarding projects to ever complete and to give. Like, there's nothing we do in this field I don't think is as rewarding as shooting a wedding, because it's a one-time thing. It never happens again. I mean, with the same people, I assume. I don't know. Maybe you get divorced to get married again. But like it happens once. It's a moment you captured either way. Bad photo, good photo. It's still you captured a moment that no one else captured in a way that wasn't captured by anybody other than Snapchat, whatever. But that's something we didn't even talk about. There's gonna be a part 3. There's gonna be a part 3 with like people holding phones and tablets in the way of the camera and stepping.
Oh my gosh, yes.
How do we miss all that? People moved my cameras before. They've moved them around, but yeah, there's gonna be a part 3 now. But we'll wrap this one up. Yeah, if anybody else has had bad experiences out there, we'd love to hear it. Or if you want to be on the show and talk about your bad experience with weddings, we would love to have people on. But I'm bad at this. The email. People want to ask questions. Email us at thecreativetalkpodcast@absorbproductions.com. Is that right? Because I screwed it up the last time. Like I was saying, it was different on the screen. But is that right? We're double checking.
Is it yeah.
I think we just want to make sure that's right. We want people to start sending in questions or topics, anything you want to talk about, and we'll feature your question. We'll shout out your name. And if you want to be on the show, reach out. Definitely reach out. We want to talk about anything and everything that's a creative field. We also want to start branching out of the film and photography industry to talk about other creatives doing anything in an artistic field. But
yeah, I kind of want to do a little preview of this, but if I won't happen until next year, well, I know it won't happen until next year because it's December. But I think I may have told you, Austin, about the guy that I know. He there was a contest on HBO, and it was a contest where you send in a short film, and if your short film wins, you get $1 million budget, and you direct a feature film for HBO.
Gosh. Wow.
And it was hosted by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And so I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll message the director that won. I was like, I'll just message him. So messaged him on Facebook. I wasn't expecting anything in return. So I've actually been talking to him the past couple of years.
Is he the one? You did tell me about him, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he wants to be on?
Yeah, he. I asked him if he was interested in being on the podcast. He's like, yeah. He's like, let catch up with me sometime the beginning of next year because he's working on post right now on his second feature film. So
that'll be cool. That would be awesome.
So that'll be a major one.
Yeah. All right. Did you have the email up, Caitlin, to make sure we got it correct?
It's the creative talk at Absorb Production. Gosh, I can't. The reverb.
Sorry,
Austin.
I muted.
All right. Okay, it's the creative talk at absorbproductions.com.
Yep.
Okay. We'll have it up on the screen. It'll be listed in the show notes, wherever this is at and everywhere that it's at. So if you have any questions, send it our way. It could be about literally anything that is film or photography related or business related or, I don't know, like, what's your favorite kind of dog? Talk to us. But yeah, I mean, asking us about like the artistic field we're not in, obviously we're not going to be able to answer that, but we would like to have other people who are interested in being on the show and talking about maybe something interesting that we aren't, that us here don't know much about. Yeah. So that's it for this episode. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
We'll have to have Caitlin on more.
Maybe.
All right.
We'll see. All righty. Well, thanks guys for watching this. We will most likely do a part 3 wedding one. I'm thinking more. I'm getting more mad. I'm just kidding. No.
And I see there's a hole in the wall back there. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, this is my wedding editing wall here where I just punch holes in. No. But like I said, they're rewarding. I think one day, I don't know if I want to move away from them or not, but probably not. So that's it. Well, thanks guys for watching. We will see you in the next one.
Bye.